You got the bombs? That's what's up. What's up, everybody? Welcome again to the next episode. I'm Felipe Santos. This is, that shit don't stop, huh? I'm Felipe Santos. This is Jamie Knott. We also have Drew in the house today. Drew, say what's up.
Pleasure to be here.
Today's guest, we have my buddy Nelson Alves over here. Nelson's a good friend of mine. I've known him since childhood. He's helped me a lot in real estate. He's actually like guided me and mentored, and we still talk on a daily basis, and we've been trying to get him, but he's just like so busy traveling the world, private jet and everything. It's kind of hard to get him over here, but you know, we're honored to have you here. And Nelson, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, I'm Nelson.
Hey, Nelson.
Nice to be here. You know,
Hello,
a little
Nelson.
nervous.
Nice to have you, Nelson.
Thank you.
You're
Not
nervous.
nervous. I'm excited.
You're excited. If we had no
That's how
pants,
Phil got
then
me
you'd
here.
be nervous.
What?
Or excited. We're excited.
You can't hide the excitement with no pants on, brother. We'll know immediately what it is.
Everybody got pillows.
We're on the casting couch. So.
That's it, man. Well, you're on the casting couch.
We are on the
Yeah,
casting.
there you go.
Yeah, we decide the cast.
Picked a weird episode to start for this. All right.
So, like, where you from? Where'd you grow up? Let's start over there. Let's start at 1964.
Damn. Born and raised in Harrison.
Cool.
All my life. I moved to Kearney after I got married, but Harrison kid growing up. Parents are Portuguese, you know, first generation here. Really it. I mean,
When you move, I got a question. When you move from Harrison to Kearney, is that like, yo, we made it?
we have more land.
Okay.
You know?
Because I know from Nutley, when Belleville people move to Nutley, they're like, yo, we're in Beverly
As
Hills now.
soon as you cross into Kearney, you get a lawnmower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not
I
big,
got it.
but and you mow your own shit. No landscape. No,
No, I got a
chemicals.
landscape.
Now you do. But at first, you mow your own shit. You trim it.
So more land. What do you
More
mean,
land.
like a quarter acre as opposed to
like
.0025?
So instead of like 2,500 square feet, it's
Okay.
5,000 square feet of land. That's like a basic lot in Kearney.
Big dog in it.
A little bit. But yeah.
No, cool. So look, you moved to Kearney. I know it's a typical immigrant story. Your parents came here from another country, started off, you and your sister at the time, right? And
Yep.
you went to school. What'd your dad do for work?
He was a carpenter, union carpenter for 30 plus years.
Cool. And I know your parents got a little bit into real estate too, right? Is that how it started?
Yeah. I mean, my dad flipped his first house like in 1995 or something, and my mom was against it. She even now she's okay with it, but even for like the past 30 years that my dad did something
Yeah.
on the side, my mother was like, no. She was scared.
Most of the
you know?
time when husbands do things on the side, it's frowned upon.
It
I
is.
will just say that. So it's not really the wrong thing or feeling.
Well,
It's experience.
it was flipping.
Yeah.
But that was really it. They dabbled in it, but it wasn't anything to the extreme that I guess I took it.
Yeah.
But again, my dad was a union carpenter. My mother stayed home with my sister. My sister was handicapped.
Yeah.
And that was really it. You know, we didn't grow up, you know, with a lot of money, but there was nothing ever missing.
Yeah.
If that's, you know, how to say it.
I think the beauty about being a kid when you don't have everything is everything you do have is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how I felt. Like I never felt like we were poor.
You don't know.
No.
You have no
You
clue.
live there.
That's it.
At the time too, like internet's not, so you really don't know. You see,
You don't know
TV,
shit.
You see like fucking the Cosbys or something. You're like, oh, that's close enough. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
think it is.
yeah.
You're inside your own world and you have everything you need.
Yeah.
If your belly's full and you get to sleep every night and a shower, right?
Yep.
I lived in a 3-family growing up until I was 20 something years old, and I didn't know that wasn't the norm.
I say the same thing there.
You know,
Yeah.
and then my cousins, my aunt and uncle on my dad's side, they bought a house in North Arlington, single family.
Beverly Hills.
You know, with the detached garage. That's even more
I
Beverly
mean, oh
Hills.
my God.
And,
When people from Kearney make it, they move to
they
NA,
went from
right?
Newark, from
They
from
took the
Ironbound.
easy-
Oh, they skipped like three
They skipped
towns,
2 counties.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they went to North Arlington, and I remember going there the first time, and I was like, wow. They had a detached a 2-car garage, basketball rim above it,
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
typical
no.
suburb shit. And I'm like, fuck, man, I had a milk crate as a basketball in my
Yeah,
backyard.
the courts in play.
And if I over bounced it hit the neighbor's house, like, just, you know, so that's what I grew up in.
Did you pick up anything from your dad? He was handy, right? Obviously, he's
I hated it when I was growing up. He took me to work with him when he did his like, you know, side hustles and stuff.
Right.
And all of my friends played soccer or this or that, or at the courts in Harrison. And there was Nelson freaking cleaning the basement out because that's what my dad made me do. Worst time in a sense as a kid, sucked. Best thing that could have ever happened to me.
right.
Because now like the building that I do or the managing that I do of the apartments and stuff like that, I got a little bitch hands. I don't like doing the work, but I know how to do it.
I saw
And-
your nails. They're pretty shiny,
thank
bro. I
you.
got to be
Thank you.
honest.
I hate doing the work, but I know that if that door doesn't swing right, something's wrong
know
with
how
it.
to
And I know
do
how
it.
to fix it, you know? So I try not to get, you know, fucked over by somebody.
So where do you think you got like? Because as long as I've known you, you always hustled, made it happen. Whether it was cars first, we come from a town where it's I'm from Harrison too. Obviously, we come from a town where like you don't have much, so you make sure your gear looks good and you got a nice whip when you get it.
Yeah.
You make it happen. You're not getting the Benz in the beginning, but you might get a Volkswagen Beamer and do it up. You know what I mean? Like, look, I know how to hustle, so I know you from that, right? And so. Like, how'd you get your, you know what I mean? Like, where do you think you got your ambition to like your entrepreneurial spirit to like do more and everything?
I guess I would say like my dad, you know, even though he did work for someone else,
Yeah.
he always, even when he moved from Portugal here, he had his own construction company there. He just wanted to better his life somewhere else.
Sure.
Something that he always said was, you know, like how do I explain it? Like, invest your money into something and don't spend it stupidly. That was really the thing that he like put in my head the most. He never really got into like big, you know, building or anything like that, but everything that he did do was calculated and done right. I guess it just made me more like, all right, I got to do something where I can make a lot of money and not have a lot of work. And that's really it. And then I got into the mortgage industry. So that kind of.
So when did you get into the mortgage industry? There's a two-part question. When did you get into the mortgage industry, and did you buy your first house first, or was mortgage industry first?
Mortgage industry first, and like 6 months of working, I bought the first house.
So what year was that you got into?
Well, I started doing mortgage. I was 16 years old with my cousin,
Yep.
And I was a telemarketer. I wasn't actually doing the loans, but I was kicking ass. I was working just Saturdays, but I was making good money.
So what did a day look like? I mean, you're cold calling a sheet.
Cold calling a sheet, and then I was making commissions off all those deals that I would get.
So
Someone else would sell.
you felt that hustle right from the first
at
call,
60,
right?
But that's the thing. Like before that, I had like other summer jobs and random shit that I would do. But like
You always had money in your pocket.
yeah, and again, my parents gave me money growing up. That was the norm. In my household, that was the norm. But not
Did you have to do chores and shit?
It was
for that?
chores and be a good kid.
Okay.
You know, I never had any crazy like, you know, I always wanted a GT performer or whatever. I got a Huffy. You know, I had a bike, but it just wasn't the bike.
I got a second-hand TT Performer.
Well,
that's because somebody stole it. They stole it.
I just it was
Stolen bikes in Harrison's unheard of.
No,
right?
no, it was bad over there.
that was a spot. Yeah.
It's just you know, I always hustled to do something. But once I started doing mortgages, and then I turned 18 and I graduated from college or whatever, and I started doing it full time, I basically, you know, I was making really good money at 18 years old. I lived at home with my parents for free. My mom did everything, you know, wash clothes, cook, this and that.
I tell my wife I would still live at home if I could, man.
I would too.
Instead of that, I just brought my mom home, and so she kind of does everything. And I'll do her a favor if she's really doing it.
It's great. It's great. It was great. And then
did you get good grades in school and stuff?
I was average. I
Okay.
really didn't give a shit.
Did you get in trouble? Did you get in the fights? Anything like that?
The typical shit, not
Nothing bad.
Nothing like added like crazy.
I just want to show that not everybody has to be like Phil when they come from Harrison. There are normal.
I could give
there's
it
some
to
normal people.
Nelson was a good kid in my eyes. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like he was younger than me. I'm pretty sure I fucked with him a little bit because that's kind of what you do with younger kids. I remember we both went to Portuguese school together. We were like a few years apart. But yeah, I don't remember.
I was never.
Waves.
Yeah.
He was like actually the guy my mom would talk about. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
somebody up to like, why aren't you more like this guy?
If you were
know what I mean?
going
She
out
would
with
use
Nelson,
him.
you were good. It was like
You were safe.
no problem.
Well,
I'm staying in Nelson's
surface
house
safe.
tonight.
Surface. Yeah, I mean, no saint, but
Yeah.
again, as a kid, until I turned like 20 years old, I was very, I guess, I use the word obedient in a sense. Like if my mom said something or my dad said something, and then I turned like 19, 20 years old and all hell broke loose, and it was just, you know.
Let's hear a little bit about that.
It's not that. I just, you know, I know we're veering away from what we first originally said. It's just, I went through, you know, I was 20 years old. I really didn't give a shit. I had money in my pocket,
Right.
and I went out.
Start exploring.
Yeah, a little
But-
ego happened, right?
It was a big ego.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and again, I never got into crazy shit. Like I'm not, you know, I never did drugs or anything. I smoked weed. I popped a pill or two, nothing like that, but nothing excessive.
Okay.
I drank.
Okay.
You know, but then I you know, from 20 till when I met my wife, it was chaos. You know, I went out every night. I blew money left and right. If my friends didn't have money, I paid for it.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I just
You wanted to have a good time.
It was 7 days a week, 3 or 4 times we would
Full-time
go.
job.
Full-time job. I would.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you still drink today?
Yeah. Not
Okay.
just a social. Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're married with kids.
Married with kids, 3 girls.
Nice,
Yeah.
man. God
Karma.
bless.
You know those 10-year, the 7-year span or whatever. Yeah, there you go.
No, I don't know what you mean. Can you get into that a little? Can you develop that story a little further for me?
It was a good time.
So, cool. What year? You said 2004 with the mortgage. Is that what you said?
Well,
I know before that you
2000. So
started.
technically 2000 I started.
Yeah.
In 02 I bought my first house.
Okay. And then you're still doing more. You bought your first what?
Two family
In
in Harrison.
Harris. Cool. And
Still living at home with my parents.
cool.
House left me $600 and change a month. I went out and bought an Escalade.
Nice.
Obviously.
I was
Yeah.
I was literally like 20 or 21 or 22, whatever the number
Do you
was.
still have that home today?
No, I got stolen. Yeah.
The house or the
No, the
Escalade?
house. Oh no, I thought you meant the upside.
Yeah, it's hard to steal a house. I mean, I've tried, but
Some have wheels.
It's not. Yeah.
mobile homes are a bit easier, right?
I'm pretty sure Phil stole the Escalade. Just
He was probably not allowed in Canada
Yeah.
at the time, but yeah, it got stolen in Canada. The Escalade.
In Canada.
Yeah, I went up there for a car show and
it's
went.
supposed to be nice out there.
It was until they took my truck, you know, and
Welcome to Canada.
yeah, it
That's
was in
the other
Montreal,
Canadian.
and it was gone. You know, then which is fine, I went out and bought an M5
Of course.
a few months later.
I remember
And-
the M5. That was
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's a natural progression,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, I had to go up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, the whole thing
amen,
is
bro.
like, you can't go backwards.
No way.
but
No.
it was.
Did you get some insurance money out of the stolen
No, it was
vehicle, or-
leased. It was leased. So
Okay.
they just paid it, and then I ended up financing the M5. Whatever. I still
How'd you
own
get
it.
home? Did you fly home?
We
Did you-
rented another because we took a car up there for a car show, and then we rented a car. That car got broken into too, and
Wow.
yeah, it's a big
That's crazy.
We rented a Tahoe
Yeah.
to bring the trailer and the car back down,
Yeah.
and we went to sleep. Woke up, the Tahoe had the door popped open, and yeah,
I'm gonna guess you guys were drinking a little bit when you were up in
we
Canada,
were,
right?
but the car was parked at the hotel. It wasn't even at like
The car wasn't drinking. It's parked.
it was parked.
So you got all right. So then, I know eventually you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you partnered or whatever with your cousin or somebody with the mortgage
It was like a
company?
net branch, basically. It was he owns it.
Yeah.
I just did my thing on there. I gave him a percentage, and
Yeah.
that was it.
And what year was that? That was
02.
02. And so that's what I'm getting to. Like, so then obviously you're starting, like, you got the one house, then I'm sure you bought another one, right?
like a year and
then
change later.
Year and change later. And then obviously 2007, 8,
Well,
9
everything hit the fan.
happens. And
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit.
Well, best and worst thing that could have happened.
Mhm.
Opened my eyes to a lot of shit. I never stopped going out. I still did my thing. I never quit doing mortgages. We never did any shady shit there.
yeah.
So like it wasn't that the banking department came and knocked on our door or anything
Yeah.
like that.
there
were
was a
legit-
lot of that happening.
was a lot,
at that
of course.
time.
We-
right? Yeah.
We didn't. It
The
was
AAA stuff was not really
there-
AAA.
it-
It was-
Yeah, well, we did a lot of subprime stuff,
okay.
but it wasn't. We never did anything with fake tax returns or fake this or fake that. We knew people doing it. We did not do it.
Most of those guys were in Nutley.
Oh, they could have been or Newark or wherever, and they made a lot of money.
Yeah.
No
The
doubt
thing
about
is-
it.
The thing is, we were in it for the long run, and it's 2023, and we're still open.
Yep.
Goes back to that good upbringing.
Well, and my cousin's the same thing.
Good.
Never had to change the name of the mortgage company. Never had to use someone else's license or anything like that. We were legit, still are.
Yep.
Shit hit the fan in 07, 08, 09, whatever it was, and I lived at home with my parents, so it only affected how much money I could spend when I was going out.
Yeah.
So if I was spending $700-800 a night, now I can only spend $300-400 a night.
You
but
poor thing.
Yeah, well, like I said, we partied, and it wasn't like today where you go out and buy a bottle for $100. A bottle of something fucking in 2009 was still fucking like
Yeah.
$400. But again, we went out, we did our thing. It opened my eyes to that it's going to happen again. Make a lot of money when it does.
Yep.
It's not always going to be bad. It's not always going to be good. You got to just ride it. People that quit or anything like that, I feel like, and again, shit happens. A lot of people let their houses go just because, you know what, I don't want, I owe the bank this and I only owe what. It's a shitty mindset in a sense to do that, because it will go back to normal and then go back up.
Right.
You just got to ride it.
It always does. It always adjusts. It always
It
goes
has
back.
to.
Yep. Pendulum swings.
Right.
Cool. So now, all right. So a lot of people, and the reason I'm talking or asking that question too is like, it's just like now during COVID, I look at it as that same 3-year break, right? And it's like oh shit, or it's like, and it might be initially, or it's like opportunity. The way I look at it and I talk, like every time something happens, is the oh shit first. It's the initial, and then it's like, cool. How do I pivot? How do I change? And where are the opportunities? And of course, it's not exactly how it was. It's not supposed to, but it's supposed to change so that this is my time. This is my opportunity to go in there and actually do something. So were you like making some deals after the dust settled in 2008 and 9? Like you went back and started buying properties and
I did. I bought another 4-unit in 2009, another one in 2010. The deals made sense.
Yep.
You know, the houses I bought in Belleville.
Wait, say that again. The what?
The deals made sense.
No matter what.
No matter
If
what.
the deals make sense.
Well,
right?
basically, I mean, the
Yeah.
banks never stop lending money.
Correct.
You just, the terms are different.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you already know that on an investment property, you're not going to FHA it 55 times.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not that you're supposed to FHA an investment property. Let me rephrase that because
Somebody else.
someone else is going to say something.
Yeah.
The first house you buy, you live in it for a year
Yeah.
or whatever. But if you put down 25% on any investment property, that bank will lend you money.
Correct.
That's it. So I had it.
As long as the numbers make sense.
Well, exactly. But that's like anything. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't be buying it if it didn't make sense.
Correct.
So the bank will lend it. And that's what happened. And I found opportunities that, you know, I left my little comfort zone at Harrison and Kearney and bought my first house outside that comfort zone in Belleville.
Yeah.
And it worked. You know, and then from there, just I kept buying and saving money and buying and, you know, refinancing if I had to and borrow 20, 30,000 to go
Yeah.
buy something else.
Buy something else. Yeah.
You know, and that's really it. And then it becomes harder and easier to buy because the more shit you have, the harder it is to buy, but the more money you have to buy it.
All your money's fucking pent up. You're short on liquid.
Explain that
Now
to
you
people
gotta
who
get-
really don't understand that. That's an interesting point, right? Because your
first-
assets are there, but you're cash poor,
you're
right?
cash poor.
Cash poor.
That's the thing. So like the first house you buy is the easiest house you will ever buy. Not for Phil. That was a hard time for us, but we got it done.
It was a good fucking time.
But
I'll
we
talk
got
about
it done.
later. Yeah.
All right. Normally the first house you buy, let's just say you want to get into an investment thing that you're going to live in, a 4-family FHA, you go in with a 3.5% down, even if it's depending on the county, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, and you can qualify income wise, they will give you the money. Where you come
Because you're going to live there.
because you're going to live there.
That's the key.
For a year. So fine. After a year, if you decide you want to move, you technically can rent it out. It's perfectly fine. But your second one already, you got to come up with 25%. So if you're buying something for $1 million, it's 250,000. It's a big difference between
Big
your
chunk.
3.5% that
Very
you were
big.
buying it before. So my biggest thing that I always told people that buy whatever you buy first, make sure it's a multifamily and make sure you live there for a year. And then after that, because then you could buy a 1-family for 3% down.
Yep.
So for a total of 6.5%, you bought 2 houses.
Houses. Yeah.
Man,
So-
I gotta call my wife.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It makes
Like,
yeah, it
if
makes
you're
a
gonna
ton
buy
of
your
sense.
1-family, not the investment, you still need 25, and you're
Yeah.
gonna move to it. You could do it
Yes.
again for 3.5 as a FHA.
Right.
You can't go if you own a 3 or 4-family. Let's say a 4-family, you could go to a 3-2 technically. You can't go from a 2-family to a 3.
3, unless there's excruciating circumstances.
Exactly, but it's just
Excruciating or extenuating? We don't want to
One or
hurt
the
anybody
other.
in the process,
Well, it's
right?
one or the other. I mean, it's
All right.
It could be both.
It
Yeah.
could be both. It
It's
just
a
depends,
different
like-
bank you're going to. There. I think that's a sperm bank.
It is.
That's actually it might be fun, but it just depends. Like if you're going to a better school system,
Yeah.
they're okay with it because you're moving.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Your wife got a
Demographically
job,
better
right?
area,
Like
better. Yeah.
you live in Irvington. Not that I'm putting Irvington
Yeah.
down, but and then you're moving to Alpine.
Yeah.
They're okay with it.
That's an
So-
extreme circumstance.
That's what I'm
but
saying. Like,
understood.
Excruciating too.
but if you're moving from Maple Street on one town to
Yeah.
Main
other
Street
side.
on the other, they don't give a shit. You're not getting it.
So Phil, your first property was a multifamily that you helped him out to get.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I knew he had properties already, right? And he had the mortgage, and I've been talking to him for a while. I was working as a union carpenter, and I finally got my shit together, and me and my fiance at the time. So I'm like, cool, let me talk to Nelson. We always got along, and he literally like held my hand through it. He says excruciating. It was fucking excruciating.
For him, I'm sure.
Yes,
me,
because I
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
kill him.
Right.
Right. Because at the time I am not who I am now, and I was very
He was not
impatient.
patient.
What's going on? I was not impatient.
You weren't there yet.
I was like, whatever. I was so hard. It was the best thing. I tell him all the time, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. He fucking walked me through every part. I didn't know what debt to income was. I was like, what do you mean I got to get rid of my motorcycles and my cars? Like, I could afford them. He's like, yeah, but on paper it don't look like it. You know what I mean? So he explained, he helped me look outside of my region too, because I was like Harrison, Kearney. It's what I knew. I looked in Bloomfield. I found my first one in Bloomfield. I already knew the basics of like, it was instilled in me. Live in a fucking apartment, let it pay for itself, then you buy your one family or another investment. So I knew those rules, but I needed somebody to hold my hand. What's good with me at that time was I was very obedient. Like if he tells me what to do, he knows I did everything. Right? That he's like, go get this. I'm like, I'll fucking make it happen. He knows it. Then I'd be like, how come you didn't get back to me? But I made it fucking. I made it happen.
Like 3 minutes later.
Yeah,
after the
yeah, yeah.
email.
No, like right away. Like I showed up once.
Yeah, he showed up.
Broker.
I'm like, what's
He
up?
didn't answer my phone. He was like, yo, you gotta go. But he had the patience too to help me and like walk me through it. We put the bid in, I believe it was like July, and I only closed in January. And at the time I was building out my first salon. I used the money that was supposed to be for my down payment to build a salon and just like cross my fingers, like hopefully this fucking works out. And I opened so I could pay and it did. It worked out. But it was that like that one of those moments in time that like changed my fucking direction of how to look at things. Like he was saying, how to like pursue. Bro, you know how many times he told me, don't give up, don't quit, don't give up. Like I needed to hear it. And again, for the little fucking bullshit commission I'm sure he made to deal with me for fucking almost a year was fucking crazy.
So
but
you
it
guys
also,
didn't buy it together. You just directed him on
yeah,
how
I
to
was
get
a
it.
mortgage broker.
All right. So what Drew and I are thinking, who's going to direct us to get our first investment property, right? That's what's going through your mind at the moment.
A restaurant that makes cool shit, maybe.
That's good. So like he helped me with that, and then like I said, it changed my direction to everything in terms of like how I looked at it and perceived it, and also my outlook on other stuff. He's like, just like, we'll make it happen, you know.
And we did.
And we did, right? So let's get back to, because we want to like educate some people too and give them some of our experience as opposed to advice, because we've done it. And it's like, cool, you're doing 2 families, 3 families. I remember we were talking about that. You had like a bunch, right? 4 families. I think like that was kind of your max, that 4, maybe some 6 units, right?
They were cheaper.
What year are we in right now? Let's
2016.
I would say like, yeah, so it really took off at like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And you had how many
things.
properties at this point, just so I can...
I would say at the time, maybe like 30 units.
Okay.
And are you still living at home?
No, I wish. No. I had to move out.
Good.
Hey, listen, he was smart the whole time. He was banking all that.
He's like fucking Birdman, just like I think here I come.
You know, like a marriage is set up.
Yeah,
you know,
no, that makes sense.
It was good.
When did you get thrown out of your house?
The day I got married, that was my wife.
What year was that?
2010. Sorry, 2013.
Where did you meet your wife?
Don't worry, we'll edit
At a
that.
bar in Newark.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very Portuguese, right?
Quite Portuguese.
You make sure it was 2013, so I'm looking an
Yeah,
ass.
look, we can edit it.
No, we're not editing this part for sure.
No, we
Yeah,
can't.
it was 13.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 10 years now. I was just playing.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You have a month? You have a day? I mean,
September 14th.
there you go.
It was good.
All right.
Now you need a better present because
9/14/13.
You can't complain about pride. We're going away.
Put
Okay.
it together. So, all right, 2015, 16. Got about 30 units, more or less.
Yeah,
right?
more or
All
less.
spread out in terms of like what are the buildings.
Oh, 6s, 4s, 2s, 3s.
And they're all over at this point.
Yeah, it's still in my
Hudson, Essex
Wheelhouse.
County.
Hudson and Essex County, basically.
Any more in Belleville?
Bloomfield.
Okay.
I bought something out there.
You're branching out.
Yeah, a little bit, because price per door, where in Harrison and Kearney is even now crazy.
Explain price per door for...
Well, per unit. So you're buying a 4-unit in Kearney, it's going to cost you $800,000 to $900,000. You're buying a 4-unit in Bloomfield or Belleville at the time, it's going to cost you $400,000. So half price per door, or maybe not half price, but
Now, if I'm thinking as an outsider from Nutley, I know those 2 towns, I would think it would be flip-flopped.
well,
Because Bloomfield's a better school system. It's a
Right,
nicer area. So...
and that's the thing. But like compared to like Kearney, for example, or even Harrison, like you're going to pay at the time maybe $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 for a 4-family. Where in Bloomfield and Belleville, they were still in the 4s and 450s, more or less. Like that's so, and the rents are pretty much the same.
Wow.
You know, so if you can get it cheaper, you might as well, for what, an extra 3-minute drive.
The difference in Harrison and Kearney. So Harrison has the PATH train, which is direct to the city, right? And Newark's right there too. It's also an Abbott school district, and what that means is it has full pre-K 3 and pre-K 4. So I stayed living in Harrison until my son was in kindergarten, just to like, it's a big advantage when put your
So you're not
school-
paying for your
Not
young
paying.
children to go
Right.
to school.
Like I pay for my kids to
and
go to
it's
school.
and Harrison has a great
Got
school
it.
system.
It's a big
small, yeah.
Huge. I
very
had
big.
3 kids in Clendenning at
So,
one point
dude,
in time.
I got 3 kids.
I
in
literally worked
Catholic school now.
just for that, I feel like.
So do the math.
Yeah,
You
it
know
adds
what
up.
I mean?
Oh, it adds up quick.
So
Yeah.
the value, and Harrison was one of the first ones, like Bloomfield's happening now in terms of development with Red Bull Stadium, and then everything on the other side of the tracks, as we say, right? All that new development, and it's creeping this way, so property values start.
So is it going to
Obviously
happen or
going
what? Because I looked
No.
at spaces in Harrison to open a restaurant 6 years ago, and I
Yeah.
was like, we're not there yet.
Yeah,
It's not there yet.
I don't. Think
And I
it's-
was
it's
willing
not-
to take the
it's
shot
not
in
there yet.
Jersey City. It
Different-
wasn't there yet.
Different clientele.
But now it's there. So is Harrison Jersey City in
No.
3 years?
No. I don't
What
think
about
so.
Newark?
Newark? Might be. There's a long way to go. They're starting to do it and everything. Newark has a better chance, especially if you come in the beginning, because there's not as much competition right now. And I know you're doing something over there too. Like now is the time. In the last 2 years, like it's
We're going to
really-
make some
and
cool
Down Neck
shit in
too.
Newark.
Down Neck, Iberia got
Yeah.
sold. They're building there. They changed the zoning there because you could only go up 4 floors before,
Yeah, now you
4
can go
stories.
80 or something stupid.
So
Yeah,
now
he's-
it's like
He's putting a
all those
he's
empty
putting a big
parking
boy
lots
over there.
It's like, you know,
That's going to be huge.
yeah.
So
that's
for the
big.
people listening, do you have a town that you would advise someone to go look at right now for an investment property?
Irvington.
Anything, it'll come
Believe
up.
it or not.
It'll come up.
Yep.
It's not as bad as it was.
No.
So maybe in the outskirts of Newark where they're going to start building those
It's
those
still
units
expensive.
too, right?
If you want to get like best bang for your buck, look 40 minutes to an hour outside your comfort zone,
Okay.
Like
doesn't
Montague?
like Montague.
we talked about that. He helped me with that.
So you're
too.
saying
you
go
know.
west, Fievel.
West,
West or north?
west or south.
Yeah, or south too. Yeah.
You know,
Away
Um,
from the New York City
yes.
metropolitan area where you can't see the city pretty much.
So past 25 miles from New York City.
yeah,
Yeah.
or more.
Okay.
You're looking like 40 miles.
Okay.
It's just and the rents are not considerably different. The logistics change. That's all. So if your handyman charges you $100 to go change something, now he's going to charge you $140 because it's going to take him another hour to go and come back.
So you're paying for his travel.
You're paying for the travel,
Yeah.
but you're also paying, instead of like we were talking price per door, instead of paying, let's just say 2 and change in Harrison, maybe 175, 180, 10 miles away, you're paying 90 to 100, 50, 60, 70 miles away.
Got it.
Now, all of a sudden the rents are not the same, but even if they're $300-400 cheaper, you're also borrowing $1 million or $2 million less.
Yep.
So it offsets real nice.
Yep. The property I have in Montague, which is like an hour and 15 minutes away, and it's more logistics than anything. I got it at about $100,000 a door. There's 20 units over there, and we talk about it all the time. It's like my best deal that I got. But it takes you, like, you have to do the other deals first before you get to that. You have to know the ins and outs of like how to manage. Like property management is important.
Do you mean mentally you have to get there?
Well,
all
mentally,
all
financially,
facets.
physically,
You deal with a lot of
logistically.
nonsense.
spiritually?
A lot of
So, like,
nonsense.
the thing with, and I'm going to give mine, and I'm sure Nelson will give his, is like, I kind of grew up with it a little bit. So I understood my parents had a 10 unit. I knew how to deal with tenants. We vetted them out personally. Like I wasn't, I'd put ads, but I'd meet them, kind of see, you feel them out. I learned that young. I learned how to fix shit on my own. I'm at the point where I don't want to, but I still know how to. So you know how to deal with ins and outs, like the restaurant business. You know every fucking position because you worked it. You don't want to work it, but if you have to, you know it. Cool. That's that.
That's the position
What
I'm
I
in
didn't
right now.
have was the logistics of like a travel time, right? So like now that I have a bunch of them, I could figure out that one that's an hour and a half away. So like most of my subs aren't going to go there because they're like, fuck that,
Right.
hour and a half. Even if I pay them, they're like, it's a waste of time. I have one guy that does most of my maintenance stuff. He goes, let him borrow my truck and everything. I do use a plumber that's out there. I do use an electrician, or if he has one that's out there. But how many times, we were talking yesterday, how many times am I going to call the plumber or the electrician to go to the same place, right? So you start developing systems, you start understanding. I still go out there. I have a system where they pay rent. It's called Door Loop. So they do it on an app, but I still go there to show face because obviously some don't, and I got to pick it up. It's not a perfect system. And then on top of it, you also kind of have to be built for it because you got to deal with tenants. I have to put on a different hat every door I knock on. Linda's batshit fucking crazy, lost everything. I love her, but I got to cut it because she'll take me hostage for an hour. You know what I mean? And I still
Right.
got fucking 19 more doors to knock on, right? Then there's ones that avoid you. There's, one that I have to do an eviction, and I still talk to him. During COVID, I didn't have too many problems with rent because I talked to everybody. I worked it out, right, for the most part. Yeah, and even now, not too many. We were talking, but it does take a delicate hand to, like, you can't be mad, flip the fuck out. You got to be careful what you say. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go.
I mean, it's similar to your salon industry, right? Because how many people do you have in the store at one time? Everybody's different. You have so many different personalities, and who's sensitive, who needs a little tough love. But you add the
logistics to it of travel time, and it's not like, it's already not for everybody, and I'm glad it's not for everybody locally, right?
Right.
Because listen, there's lots of horror stories, and they're true. Right. But it's like you ask a hairdresser, you ask a chef, this business sucks, restaurateur sucks, fucking washing cars sucks, or you listen to the other people, because those are the ones I want to listen to. Like, I don't hear you complain too much. So, what's going on? And usually they're like, finally somebody asked me, because it's fucking working. Right. So, but cool. Look, so like I'm in Montague, which is Northwest New Jersey, in the fucking nook by Heights Point over there. So like, now what do? Do I branch out even more? Like where
Let me ask a question. Does it ever make sense where you guys have like your own plumber, or you start your own little, a maintenance man where you guys can pay him yearly, and it's just, are you at that level? Do you get to that level? Is that something that could happen? I mean, I have
a girl that works for me. She's my handy woman. She's been with me for 3 or 4 years now.
First time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, she's great. She's a pain in my ass, even if she listens to this, because she is.
She knows it.
But she's great. She does all that nonsense that, this door broke, that didn't work. She redoes bathrooms, she does kitchens. She's,
because it's constant every day, right?
It is and it isn't. A lot of the shit's nuisance stuff. Like, it's just, my toilet's clogged. Well, unclog it.
Well, that's a good point. Richie mentioned last week he's got a nuisance clause where it's $200 or less, right?
He did. Yeah.
That's super smart. And that's, people stop fucking calling you, right? It's like, yo, I'm going to hit you for $200 every time you need a light bulb changed.
I did
so figure it out, homie. Right? I mean, there you go.
The locksmith shit. Yeah. People lock themselves out. Oh, I need the keys. Well, you're an hour and change away from you. I already told you in the lease I do not have spare keys. And if I call the locksmith, you need to pay it when he goes there.
Right.
They don't lose keys.
It's amazing how that happens, right?
Shit unfortunately, sometimes I get it.
Unfortunately, I can't write leases for all my staff members. I wish I could, because the amount of times they break a blender or the fucking dish machine or drop plates or glasses, it's unbelievable every day. But when I'm there on property, it happens so much less. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
On edge. You hit the nail on the head. That's why you got to show up. That's why you got to show face once in a while. I have a couple people on retainers, a plumber and electrician. So I give them a minimum, which means they show up first to my spots, right? And I need them. And every time they show up, maybe not today, tomorrow, like I know my time frame. I do have my buddy Juan that works for me, hits all the salons, hits everything, goes to Montague because a lot of people don't want to go there too. So you start developing systems. They're not all there. This took years, right?
Right.
Putting it together, who works, who doesn't work. And when somebody doesn't work, you got to find somebody else. Me and Nelson talk a lot. I'm sure he's got a big network of people too. Like, what are your resources? So it's a lot of that. You're not on this boat by yourself, but you do have to make yourself available, and you do have to reach out. And like, I still talk to him all the time. Like, I put all my deals through him, right? Every deal. And he's like, he at least gives me that first glance, like, looks good, do some more work, or like, why would you even bother?
I was going to ask you guys two things. One, do you use the same bank or banker with every deal? Or
yeah, I mean, once I get comfortable with that person, yeah, it's just easier. They already know.
They understand where you're at. Where you know what to use to get what you need, right?
They got all your stuff.
They have your stuff, right? Yeah,
your documents and everything.
And it's just easier that way.
So you're still doing mortgages today?
Yeah,
that's
now it's part.
That's your 9 to 5. Or
no, I don't have a 9 to 5.
That's your 12 to 2.
That's my like a few hours a week.
Whenever you open your computer,
when someone calls me to do a loan, I will go in the office and do that. I'm in the office a few days a week, only to do the real estate stuff.
Is it commercial? Is it residential?
It's residential stuff. Okay. I do commercial stuff, but I sub it out. But like mortgage wise, it's part time now.
And do you two have any deals together?
No,
not yet.
Is there a reason for that, or
we're Portuguese? So like,
you look less Portuguese than him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, he's fucking Dynasty over here, and I look like
that's a serious beard, bro. We do have to bring that into the cast because I mean, It's there.
It'll be 7 years.
It's apparent since you've touched it.
Since I've touched it. I touched the sides.
No, he touches it every day.
I touch it.
Do you groom it? Do you put things in it,
I put
juices and
things-
berries? Can you tell me about that?
Shake it, see what comes out.
What's the weirdest thing you ever found in your beard?
Nothing like that. Usually food.
Yeah, like a chicken nugget or something. I mean, is there like
Just food. Sometimes if you're eating soup
Barbacoa?
or
What do you got in there,
whatever,
bro?
like it drips
I'm
and
gonna
then
stay quiet.
or like a fucking shrimp. I know where you guys are going with it, so I'm gonna stay with it.
no, not at all.
But shrimp and garlic is the worst one because then you smell like garlic the rest of
Gambas con ajo, see? Yeah, we know all about those.
You got it. He's got to pick the beard up when he
Yeah,
eats.
or
and
you
soup and
put it to
shit.
the side.
Oh yeah, so it's like, do you tie it and put it on the
He
side?
just grabs it. He got
That's a nice move.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's serious. 7 years. But seriously, what's your grooming?
I condition, shampoo, condition, and I put oil in it. That's-
Portuguese olive.
What kind of oil?
Honest Amish.
Honest Amish.
Hopefully they'll
Okay.
give me a
Sponsors.
Yeah, we're all looking for
Looking for
sponsors, bro.
endorsements.
endorsements.
Don't worry, I'll tag them on
They
this
don't have
reel.
they don't have internet or TVs. The Amish.
Back of the line for you, Nelson. We're all looking for fucking sponsorships. All right.
No, we've talked about doing stuff together. It's not a no. I think it's just like it hasn't for whatever reason popped up.
We're usually doing things separately in a sense. Like if he'll call me like, oh, I remember you called me on one deal, and I'm like, dude, man.
Yeah, I said
was-
you
it
want to
was-
get in. It was Montague.
Montague.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You
man,
were
I'm in
stuck.
the process of like buying something right now, and I like, and it's not that I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's just that if I do both, I can't do. I can't do one. Like so, I had to do
Right.
I do have partners. I have, and again, one of my close friends, Carlos. We did some flips or whatever. Never saw any of the money. We dumped it into two 6 families in Newark, and right on Highland Ave.
Yeah,
nice little area. And
Up and coming.
huh?
Up and coming.
Hey, listen. When we first bought it, the rents were like $700-800. Rents now there, and they're still low, about $1,300.
Yeah.
And we got 6 families for $300 and change each.
I mean, almost double. How long have you had them?
10 years, and then
Okay.
maybe 8-9 years, give or take.
The thing is too, like, so I knew it already, and then talk with like technically they would call most of the properties we buy Class C's, correct?
Yeah.
So
What does that mean?
Class A is like newly built. You see a lot of
Luxury
these
type
luxury
stuff, yeah.
amenities, everything.
it.
You're gonna
Almost a doorman
you're gonna
building,
pay-
gym.
yeah,
et cetera.
you're gonna pay a lot for anything new in terms of like, let's say Miami, let's say Bloomfield, let's say Jersey City, shit like that. That's Class A.
Okay.
Right? Class B would be maybe 10 years old. Could still be that. Could be some others. Class C is like multifamilies, but a lot older. You know what I mean? Maybe the rent's not there as much. Maybe it's in a shitty area or something like that, right? Not necessarily, right? But it's like ABC. They're tiered like that.
Right. Does that determine a loan also? Like,
that
will the
makes no
bank look at
difference.
it and
So
say,
how
hey,
we look at it. So I see. So top A, Class A, you got to look at it like there's not any more opportunity for growth there. It's where you dump your money, right? You can make a return. You're gonna pay a lot for it, and it's maybe down the line in terms of like equity. So
Long
correct
term.
me if I'm wrong, right? And then there's B, C. I think we buy a lot of ours there because we see a lot of,
It's the working people apartment.
and there's a lot of upsell there too. So a lot of people that have owned it for a while, we haven't raised rents, so there's opportunity.
it's kind of what you do in your salons,
Yep,
right? You
renovation.
see a lot of upside to it.
And the
Not upside.
opportunity for C is you might be able to pick a neighborhood that's not fully there yet, like a Jersey City 10 years ago.
Right.
If you owned an apartment in Jersey City 10 years ago, you own it now. I mean, you could.
You look
Yeah.
like a genius.
Very
Exactly.
different.
And that's what he did on Highland Avenue in Newark. You
Right.
know what I
We
mean?
update the apartments. They were in there. They have 4 mic countertops. Not that we want to update them like immediately,
Yeah.
but like
As
tenant
people
left,
move out.
shit got fucked up. There's no point in not putting granite in it now.
Yeah.
So when people go there and they're like, oh shit, they'll pay a little bit more because it looks nicer.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in a great neighborhood in the sense of like, it's not. It's Newark, not
It's not Montclair.
Yeah, like it's
No,
different.
Yeah, like it's gang over there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
Like
it is.
I'll never forget. And whatever. When I first went there and we bought the building, me and my friend Carlos got there and they were like, "You're not putting up any cameras, right?" Not anymore.
They
Like
don't want cameras there.
but now we go there. It's been so long. They don't bother us.
You're a
They don't-
fixture.
They know us,
Right.
but at the same time, I don't treat them any different.
Yeah.
I actually like the guy, my super over there, Luis, pain in my ass, Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
but he is fucking great.
He's on
He
it.
collects my rent.
Yeah.
He has a couple of bucks in his pocket every month that I go there,
Mm-hmm.
and no issues.
I have one in Passaic like that. I got a 6-unit in Passaic, and it's in the hood. And I remember the day I closed, and I went there, and somebody's on my steps, on my stoop, and he's hustling. And I was like, hey, nicely. I was like, it's not my neighborhood. I know where I'm at, right? And I look a certain way so I could kind of fit in. And right? Like I've been around.
Really?
Yeah. Look,
That's if you parked around the block,
Yeah,
bro.
you
It
went
depends
as
on what
fucking
you're driving,
Porsche.
I did go to the Porsche. I parked around the block.
Yeah, you did.
I left David there. Oh shit! I was like, lock the doors, bro.
I'll be back.
So I see him. I didn't expect it there, and I'm like, I just asked, like, honestly, I was like, do you live here? And he grilled me, and he's like, nah. And I'm like, all right, no, I was just asking. And he started moving away, and I'm like, oh fuck, there's gonna be a problem. So I talked to him. I'm like, no, look, I just bought. I explained to him, just honestly, like, I bought the building. I just didn't know. It was just like, you could stay there again. I didn't want him to, right? But I was just like,
right.
mi casa, su casa type shit, right? But like, if you go in there and you're just respectful for the most part,
They're
you know
cool.
what I mean? Like, I don't put cameras out there either. So my tenants, I'm like, I don't need to know everything that goes on. Right?
They're cool.
It's cool. It's the same if you go to a place that's like awesome, up and coming and everything. The same shit. Like, you get assholes there too. You know what
There's
I mean?
assholes everywhere.
Be respectful.
On the other side of the coin, you could show up in a certain neighborhood and they'd be like,
Who the
look
fuck
at
is
this fucking guy.
Yeah.
How many head tattoos do we need in
Yeah.
this neighborhood? And I know you're sensitive about the
I know,
subject,
it's tough.
and I apologize, bro.
No, we're good.
No, I'm
We're
sorry.
definitely gonna talk after this. No, but again, to the Class C is like there's a lot of upside. At least how we look at it in our experience,
Right.
because we pick up the stuff that a lot of people won't even look at, and we know how to deal with it. I know, like, and I use Montague because it's the most recent one. Like, I'm like, cool, I understand. Rents there were like $750. Some of them were $800. They're all at the $1,000, $1,100 within a year and a half already. As people leave, right? As the leases end, there's no rent control there. So I did the numbers before then. I even talked to him, and he's like, listen, if you raise it $50 each on every apartment, that's $1,000 extra a month over here. That's 12 grand.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking jump on 20 units. Then you do it again next year, it's another 12 grand. So we talked cap rates the other day too. Now your cap rate's going up too, right? So there's
What is a cap rate for layman's like me?
It's the percentage you make on the money that you're buying this building. It's basically your return.
yeah, after all expenses,
All
after
expense, yeah.
everything, what it is. So if it's
Capital rate? Is that what cap stands for? Or capped
I have
out?
no
I
idea,
don't
to be
know.
honest with you. I think it's just called cap.
yeah, it might
Okay.
be an acronym,
But-
right?
It might be
Okay.
capped out.
Good.
Yeah.
So like if it's $1 million and you have a 7% cap rate, you should get a 7% return on your money without mortgage if it was just paid
Simple
cash.
math, 7%.
Simple like
Got
that,
it. Okay.
right? But remember, that's the return, but there's also the equity part that you have in that building as an asset, right? Because that could go up too. So that's why real estate is usually like twofold. Like, yeah, you have your monthly, you know what I mean, the returns that you're getting, or yearly, however you want to look at it. And then if you buy something and you plan to hold on to it for a while, there's also the upside in, you know, the amount of equity you have in it.
I
So-
bank
Go
bank
ahead.
more on the equity
Yeah, that's how.
than on anything else.
Right.
I want to understand that piece of it. So let's say you have this unit.
Mhm.
I mean, you buy these 20 units, right? And then you raise the rent $100 in each unit.
Mhm.
Then do you get it refinanced? And that's what the value is now. And that all becomes
Well, no. So that
Equity?
$1,000 that you get extra month, it's yours.
It's yours.
understood. However, don't you want to show more equity if you need to borrow again?
Well, the equity is only going to go up. It doesn't matter. Technically, it doesn't matter what the rents are. If the house appreciates, it goes up in value, which is kind of normal, 3 to 4% or whatever it
Mhm.
is every year. You're just going to gain the equity. When I know you brought up COVID before, and I know we really didn't touch base on
Yeah.
it too much, but like COVID fucked a lot of things up and helped a lot of things at
Yeah.
the same time.
Pushed it.
Give us a couple examples. So
Prices, for example, and just rents and values. If you bought anything pre-COVID, especially let's just say like a multifamily, whatever it was, for $1 million, 10 units somewhere,
Okay.
it was probably worth $1.5 million, $1.6 million today. The rents at that time were probably $1,100. Now they're $1,500.
Yep.
All because of that. People left New York City. People left all these different places, and just they came to our side. And when I did the whole venture, looking outside the my comfort zone was pre-COVID, so I bought a lot of shit real cheap out west, and COVID basically, the rents were $900, $700, $800. I have rents now to $1,500.
people are more willing to travel and drive now, right? I mean,
They have no choice either.
They have
Yeah,
no choice. They
that's
work from
true.
home.
There's no supply.
Well, yeah,
there is a lot of work from
the
home.
landscape has changed, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to be in
So
most
close.
industries in Manhattan anymore,
Right.
right? Everybody has a hybrid schedule now, or a complete
2 days
work
a
from
week.
home, right? Everybody, like you said, everyone left Manhattan, everyone went to Miami or somewhere where they don't need to be
Florida,
in this
Texas,
metro
Europe.
area.
People went to Europe. I mean, they changed everything. So as long as you got in there beforehand, you're making bank today. There's still a lot of areas that are untapped. It's like we spoke about before. And we could talk about it after. But that the whole COVID thing, it did help screw a lot of people over. Cause again, I had at one point 22 people that I was evicting.
Yeah.
Do the math every month, 22 people for 3 years, give or take, average rent of about $1,200 each. That's how much money I was not losing, but I wasn't making it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're losing it, definitely.
Right. But
so look, what happened to like just to like round it up. So like the New York people went to northern New Jersey in the outskirts, and the people that lived here got pushed out further west. That's kind of like how we got pushed. So cool. We talked a little bit too. I wanted to go before we end to like funding, right? And not just banks. You and I talk about being liquid fucking poor all the time, right? And we try to come up with great ideas to it, right? What do you think like next step for people like especially you, but we'll say us, right? And it pertains to Jamie too in terms of restaurant. He's becoming liquid poor because he won't stop fucking opening up restaurants everywhere, right?
Don't stop, please don't stop.
Yeah,
Can't stop.
And, even
Won't
with
stop.
Drew investing and shit, and he invests in a lot of our stuff too. So we're all in the same boat, right? And obviously the easy answer is like make more money, get more money, but like, we talk about like I look at venture capitalists, I look at a lot of funds, I look at like how they're buying it up. And it's like, how do we get into that space? Like, cool, it's people and everything, but how do we really get into it and so that it's legal, right? It's regulated in a sense, so we don't screw up and shit. 'Cause I believe like that's our next step. So like we find all these opportunities, we know how to manage them, we know how to fucking bring them up in value, right? The upside. We're missing that chunk right now because we're heavily invested. What do we do?
we need the money.
Yeah.
And in reality, like I'll speak for I don't know enough to open up a fund or some sort of whatever it is to get those things. Because if I had an extra $20-30 million, I know how to turn that money.
That's the same thing. Like we have the projects.
Yeah.
We have.
I know.
We're always looking.
Right. Like, and that's not even lending it out or anything. It's buying this real estate that I know that every unit's going to leave X amount of dollars. And again, there's a lot. Again, things break. This guy didn't pay.
Yeah, but there's so much there that you're gonna make money.
It'll make money.
Like, of course, this shit happens, but at the end of the day, like
there's enough.
There's enough there.
Yeah. The issue is having the money, because you're not. $1 million is a lot of money, but it really isn't. It's not going to tickle anything.
So if you're out there, right? Obviously, we know how to make shit happen, right? Like we put it together. Let us make your money work for you. Let us put it together.
You could find us on all social media platforms at ChopMeatPod and ChopMeatPod@gmail.com.
That's it. Just hit us up in the DM, whatever. We're more than willing to do it. And we're serious about that. But also, like, we also talk about, like, we don't just want to take people's money and just be like, because then you'll end up getting investors or partners. Like, we have to, like, it has to be strategic in a way where,
it has to be like a fund.
Yeah.
Like if you went to whatever, not Lehman Brothers, but
bad example. definitely oh, this is bad.
Thank God for addicts.
You watch Wolf of Wall Street. It's not like that.
It's nothing like Lehman Brothers.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Your money's there on paper.
Yeah.
It's a little piece of paper you get in the mail, or you can check it online. If you need to pull it out, you can pull it out. But when you buy, if you buy into this fund that's going to buy real estate, the same thing we spoke about, and then all of a sudden somebody needs 50 grand out of that money, and either everyone has to come up with that's in that fund needs to
buy them out, or how do you get the 50 grand out of a house? You can't just go, hey, I need 50 grand back. Correct.
And that's the issue I feel like people would have. Because again, things happen.
They got to get educated on it.
I need to get this money back.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of those things like we spoke about before that would make a lot of sense.
There's another part of it too, though, that we're not talking about, and it's not glamorous. So in my business, lawyers, as an example, attorneys always want to invest in restaurants. They have excess money. They think they see a return, and it's a place to hang out and bring their friends and shit. So
Behind a table.
there's no clubhouse in a 6-unit in fucking Newark.
No.
You know, like there's no pool table in the basement, and if there is, they're not going there to fucking
No,
play.
they're not there to do that.
You know, so that's another big part of it. And you guys don't want them to technically have any control.
No.
Because you know, so it's a delicate balance, right?
Well, that's easy because you want investors, you don't want partners, right? You don't want operators. That's the easy part, and you have to clarify that. I think vetting whoever enters the fund has to have a minimum. I forgot what they call it, but you have to be classified as an investor. You know what I mean? Like if it's $500,000 you have to have, or whatever it is, 100,000, like at a minimum, and they got to make sure you still have funds to run your life the way.
Right.
So,
But you want bigger dogs than that. You want,
correct.
You
but
want the $100 million men, right?
I mean, listen, I'm not picky. You know what I mean? I can have $100 million men. I don't care if it's like $100,000 people. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
They're probably easier to deal with.
Correct. They're easier to get to. You know,
Well,
the $100 million.
that was
A guy that has $100 million.
That was the
He's not
model
going to want
you
to talk to a
chose
guy
for
that
the
only has
salons.
X.
Correct.
You know?
We wanted to.
But he got there a certain way.
Yeah, I get it.
It's easier for me to say because Saddle River is very special, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of those up there, and they always look for ways to get a real return. ROI is everything, right? Return is everything on your investment, and that's all these guys want. You show them 6, 7, 10, 12%.
Part of a lot of the people I talk.
You're
to
not
wanna
wrong.
be a
That's
part
why
of.
I asked,
It's
and
a
that's why I
barbecue
said.
conversation.
Yeah.
That's why I said
They
portfolio.
want to
Exactly.
I'm partner with James.
And there's nothing glamorous about
and
it.
It's like, yeah, you don't make money, but I'm partnered with them. They're my restaurants. That's like, of
No,
course.
you're
And that's
absolutely
Vitals,
right.
That's mine.
Yeah. Of
Some people
course.
just want to fit in, you know?
I do that with my son.
No
in
doubt
Newark. I'm
about
like,
it.
I built that. You know, the Haynes building right there. Did it with my cousin the other day. I'm like, I worked on that 2 fucking years. You know, what you said too is like making it look. It's not glamorous. You said right. So like, I think what happens is like Nelson's really good at it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay at it.
You're
too.
getting there.
And we do make it because we have systems. It looks the salon business too. Everybody thinks we're just like milking like making money, printing it. You know what I mean? And just it's because of everybody's. And it's like, you know, we traded in our 9 to 5 for a 24/7, like on call all the time. There's no breaks. There's no nothing. So we squeeze whatever we can.
Right.
We don't show that side of like throwing out tenants, cleaning shit up. I got a rat problem in Passaic. You know what I mean?
Don't forget about the bears. You haven't mentioned
I had
the
bear
bears.
problems in Montague, right? Fucking eating my garbage
Those are big
cans.
rats.
And they're like, come talk. And I'm like, I'm not fucking going there. There's a fucking bear. I'm from the hood. We don't see that
That's a
shit.
very different problem.
I'm sitting in the office. I hear him on the phone with the Fish and Wildlife Association.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here?
So like, you know, there's absolutely there's that side to it. But look, I mean, that's what makes it fun too. It's different every fucking day.
It's different. A lot of the times there's nothing to do. It's not.
There's a lot of downtime.
There's a lot of downtime. It's not all. Every
But that's
fucking
okay.
day.
When it's downtime, it's smooth, right?
Yes and no. Something's coming. It's always something. It doesn't.
So
go
you're
like-
anticipating
like I
when
know
the
on
wave is
Christmas-
coming?
There's patterns. You've been doing it for a while. You just
I know on
understand.
Christmas a hot water heater
Yeah.
always goes.
Same thing
It's
for
normal.
me,
First,
man.
first big storm or cold spell.
Oh my God.
Pipes are breaking.
Of
Yep.
course.
You know,
Like,
we
Right.
know
It's
that.
air in the summer and it's heat in the winter,
Yeah.
right? We know
Well,
that.
The good thing with
that's
the air, the air thing is great because they use their own window system,
Yeah.
so it's like you don't have to do it. It's just the
Most
heat.
of our places don't have HVAC.
Okay, there's no
So, yeah,
HVAC
it's not
working
window.
in most
Class- the heat.
Class C
Class
apartments.
C, that's right. Oh, I wanted to ask you, what about Section 8? Like, do you guys, are you into any of that?
Great question. That Nelson's going to fall
I-
into right now.
Okay.
it's a great thing. They're great people, you know. They just, some of them are bad, you know, had bad luck, whatever the case may be. I have probably 40, 50 Section 8 tenants
Do you get paid through the government?
through the government.
So
yeah.
it's probably the easiest money you can make?
They're
or-
a pain in the ass to deal with. Inspections every year, which is fine, but like, you know,
It takes more work.
You're a chef, right?
Yes.
You fry fish. What happens with the smoke detectors? They fucking go off, right?
They go off.
Do you put them back? Probably not.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the tenants don't, right? The tenants don't. So now the fucking the 10-year
Fire
seal
inspector goes
fucking
there,
comes
yeah.
in. You know, you have to put this in $30 freaking alarm, and they took it out, they threw it out, whatever the case may be, and now it fails again. You know, how many they nitpick over things, which is normal.
Because they're paying you.
Because they're paying
The
you.
government's paying.
You know, where normally they just do an inspection every 5 years for like the regular anything that's 3 units and above. The state of New Jersey does a 5-year inspection.
Okay.
Certain
Green seal,
towns,
right?
yeah, what's called the green card, but
Green card, yeah.
certain towns do the fire inspection every year. Certain towns don't do
They're
anything.
starting to do it more.
They
'Cause
are.
Bloomfield's starting to whack
More-
me every year for
more
it.
money.
Yep.
It's another 50 to 100 bucks.
They're
a year.
also doing, every town's doing, anytime anybody moves out,
Yep.
you got to do new application. And so now I got to charge that tenant because
Because it's
Which-
150 for an app
yeah,
fee,
I
and
gotta-
then
I
you come
gotta
out.
pass it.
Yeah.
I have some Section 8, right? I'm not, no. I try to put people, because I try to base it on their income and everything. So it's not a no. There's some that became Section 8 after they were tenants. You know what I mean? And I got 2 in Harrison. They're lovely people. They're great. I don't necessarily look for Section 8. I look at the person and try to vet them for who they are and kind of see the what people think that don't really do real estate is like Section 8. I heard it's the shit. The government just pays you no matter what. And it's like, no, there's a portion they still have to pay, and that's the one you have to chase even harder.
Because it's usually
okay.
like
Then-
$80.
It's
So
only
it's like everything
180.
else. There's up and down, right?
But
There's
the other thing too
good
is
and
like
bad.
they're not very easy to evict if they don't pay, because the government pays a portion. Now they own it. They're gonna fight. You're not gonna get this. Sometimes when you're in that route already too, what happens is like there are tendencies because they don't have any skin in the game. So some of the apartments get fucked up because when
Right.
you got a deposit and it's yours and you want it back, you're gonna be like, I might not want to.
They're not paying for it. It's not theirs.
So
and
they
they
don't care.
say,
It's not my problem.
Yeah, there's pros and cons.
Some are also
Right.
scared of losing the Section 8 thing, so
Correct.
they're actually really good tenants.
Yeah,
Okay.
listen, the majority are
Yeah.
great. I want to say that. The majority are great, but it's not just like, as clean cut as it is. Like
there's
anything
no
else.
cookie cutter for any of this, right?
No.
In reality, it should be easier than it is, because it like I do residential stuff, right? So it's a place for you to live. That should be your first bill. There shouldn't be evictions. No, I'm just saying, like, in reality, like, did your parents ever miss a bill?
Never.
Hell no. Why?
No.
Because that's their fucking responsibility. My
That's it.
parents, like,
I
but
was going to
these,
say because they're Portuguese.
well,
And it would
well,
look
that's true.
bad if somebody
It would,
found
it
out
would.
that they
You know,
didn't pay
if
the
Tia
fucking
saw
bill.
that, and-
Oh, because people talk.
Make me
yeah, all
look,
they'll talk,
"Whoa."
you know.
Make me look bad. You didn't pay what?
But people
Italians are the
people don't
same
pay.
way.
No.
People don't pay, and that's the biggest thing. And if you don't have if you can't deal with that, it's not for you.
I have a tenant, right? That when I bought one of the places, he's in there. Nice kid, young kid, was paying, then stopped. Like he struggles to pay every time, right? Now he's late. Now I got an eviction going with him. They're like, hey, if I pay it all, could I stay? Once I get to the point of the eviction, I know he's buying time. Like, you should have paid already. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's time for you to go. You still owe me the money. If I get it, he tells me every time the reason why. And it's like, my car broke down this. And I'm like, do you not care where you sleep? Like, I know the car, but like, what about a home? It goes back to what you were saying. Like, your first thing
Priorities.
should be like, and the reality is, no, they're
They
just
don't-
so caught up in everything else.
But they have
that
$1,000
don't think-
iPhone.
Look, the ready? You want to hear a shitty
That's a
situation?
priority.
Shitty situation. One of the tenants in Passaic, I had to evict. Got 3 kids, just had a fucking baby. I'm talking to the guy, practically begging him, bro, throw me something. Like, I'll work with you. Throw me something. He owed me like $8,000, right? He just got evicted last week. Took me, I bought the building with him in there. Took me like a couple months. It was actually pretty quick in contrast to the other counties. And I'm talking to him like, yo, like the week before, I'm like, they're gonna lock you out. I got a lockout, right? Like, what is it? Constable goes there or whatever. Change the locks. Your furniture, you can't get out. Nothing. I'm like, at least I feel bad for the kids. I'm like, just fucking take everything and go. Where am I gonna go? I'm like, we're not starting this shit again. Like, you should have thought about that fucking 9 months ago, right? But it's like, they just, not everybody, but those people, they just don't. And the 3 kids, and I'm just like,
That's
wow.
wild to me. I have a
And I
question
don't feel
about.
guilty. It's not my fault.
No.
Ready? Because I still have to pay my bank note, and I'm not going to get fucked up for a decision they made. Right? So
I
that's
wasn't
the other
judging your character.
aspect.
I know you
I
have
was
a big heart.
clarifying that and say that
For the
That's it.
listeners out there, Phil has a very big heart.
He was looking right at you when he said that.
He was. I almost feel bad now.
We're gonna have another talk after this.
We got a lot to talk about. I did have a question about evictions right during COVID. What happened to all that money? Did they get thrown out? Do you become whole? Do you become half? Do you become
A lot
What
of
happens?
the tenants that owed me money, the state paid for it. They applied for it, got help. There
100%?
not 100%.
Okay.
But I would say, like I said, I had 22 evictions at one point. I would say 10 or 12 of them got help. The others didn't. A lot of them didn't apply. A lot of them didn't give a shit. But the state
Because that's
did
a lot.
cover.
That's a lot of money we're talking
yeah.
about.
Well, again,
3 years.
it added up a lot. Now the thing is, the issue, and not to get into politics, right, was it was the fucking governor. because he said you won't be evicted. He never said to not pay rent. He just said you won't be evicted. Well, fuck, if I'm not
Once
getting
he
evicted,
said that,
I'm not paying.
Right.
that's what a lot of people did.
We'll
yeah.
figure it out later.
Yeah, that was
They
a
won't,
loophole.
PSE&G won't shut off your gas and
They
electric.
won't, right, and they didn't.
They won't do, and people were like, cool, I'm going
But
to
the minute
ball
the,
out till I fall
the
out.
memorandum or moratorium, whatever the hell it's called, was over, PSE&G was out there,
Oh,
bing, bing,
clearing
bing,
them.
bing, locking everything up. But we're over here, there's Hudson County's got fucking 40 or 50,000 eviction cases before.
Like a 2-year backlog.
It's
Wow.
nuts. They're doing something in the next 2 weeks. They're going to do like 5,000 or 6,000 cases in a week.
Oh, wow.
Are any of them still in your units?
Yeah, I have some.
So it's been almost coming up on 4
yeah.
fucking years. You're a patient man.
I don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, what do you do?
Nothing.
I mean, you can't
Especially when they call you to fix stuff.
Yeah. Really does talk.
like you'll forget, right?
Not
Like
just-
it's been so
not just-
long
No.
that they don't owe
I
you
have a
30
list.
grand.
I have a list, and I see it and I know it, and they get a message. I was sitting in my truck before sending out messages. Hey, today your rent balance is this.
Wow.
Today's
Those are big
13th.
numbers, dude.
They add up.
Those are big numbers, man.
Yeah, but they don't care.
I'm just saying, for you to look at, like,
I know, but
does it even bother you anymore?
It does. It does. Here's the thing, right? So it bothers me because I didn't make that money. I could have used that money to go out and buy something for my
Right.
family and I, or another
Right.
trip, or whatever the case. It's
it
my
is.
fucking money.
Right.
They're not paying me just out of because they don't have to. It's not that they can't.
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
They found a loophole,
Right.
and they're taking advantage of it.
That's really it. So that's the fucked up part. Like, they all have new cars. You go to the house. They're not walking. They're working. You haven't been working for 4 years. Bullshit. They're just that's what the
how
system
does
put
it
in
end?
place. Well, it ends with an eviction if you actually get it there.
It's coming
But
to
still,
the
you
end.
don't get anything back.
No, you
No,
get
getting
beat.
the money. Like you can do small claims court. Good luck with that. You know what I
put
mean?
You're
Look,
not getting a damn
Wage
thing.
guard,
you
not
don't want to
getting
hear
shit.
it. It's like it happens in like so. This isn't going to happen again for a very long time, probably, right? Whereas-
Not this situation,
Correct.
But the fact that they did it once,
yeah.
that just means
Well,
they'll figure
open
out
the door. They
they'll
can do
open
it
the door
again.
to something.
You
else.
mean COVID or people
No,
not actually
people-
getting their
no,
gas
the
and electric
government
shut
for
off?
Well,
getting-
COVID, but like, yeah, just put the more
Because something's coming down the pipeline at some point, right?
Cool. So you got to prepare for it. You have to make sure you have some margins for
Canadian
it. Right? For
wildfire, quote unquote.
Canadian wildfire.
I've paid
Yellow
people to leave.
skies.
Yeah, no, I've done that too.
People owe me money.
It's cheaper. to get
20,
them out.
25,000. How much do you want to leave? Give me like 3,000 or 4,000. We figure out a deal, and like I'll hand them cash, and they give me the keys, and they walk out.
Cash for
Oh
keys,
my
yeah.
God.
I've
Yeah,
done
but
it.
it's one less headache I got to worry about.
I
now.
get it, man.
You
It's
know?
just, that's wild.
But the thing is, like, it's a small percentage,
Right.
Of what it sucks, right? Small percentage, and now he's in the problem solving where it's like, cool, how do I get him out so I don't keep losing fucking months?
Right.
Bit the bullet. This is what it is. $3,000. Get the fuck out. He could renovate it. He can
Yep.
get it there. He's gonna get a month and a half down payment. He probably put the rent up a little higher. Starts producing again, especially if he wants to refinance or he wants to sell it. If he's got a tenant in there that's not paying,
Yeah, it's gonna hurt you.
doesn't look fucking good.
What does it look like? Let's say on the listing, like you have 2 tenants out of a 20 unit, and they're both
Then
under
you only have
eviction.
18 units.
Okay,
Like
Well,
you're buying 20, but
yeah.
18 are the only ones paying.
got it.
So then you're gonna negotiate. Be like, listen, dude, I'm gonna take over your 2 headaches.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's costing me money
It's,
to buy
you know,
those.
I'm not
2
making
units.
this.
Right.
My cap rate is no longer 7 or 8%. It's 4.
The one guy did it to me in Passaic at the closing table, and I'm there already. I'm like, motherfucker. He got
He
me.
told
He's
you
like,
what's
you
up.
know, I have problems with this one collecting rent and shit. He was paying out of pocket the rent because he had and the down payment,
Yeah.
just to like do it for them. And then he told me, and like it was still a great deal. That's
Yeah,
the thing, right?
that's-
I wasn't gonna change it, but you know,
I've thought about. I had a 4-family in Bloomfield, 4 units. Not one person paid for like 3 years.
oh my god,
Oh man,
I wanted to sell it.
yeah.
I'm sure you wanted to burn it the fuck down.
Yeah, but you know what? They called and I fixed shit and I did everything.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Three-
Wow.
3 of those tenants,
Yeah.
right, are still there. 1 finally got evicted.
Mhm.
Renovated the apartment. I already got it rented. But 3 of those tenants, they got help from the state, right, and it all came in one shot. It was nice.
Good.
Because like
You got
you're
all
talking
back
like
pay and
30-something
everything.
thousand times, so like 90-something grand that came
Wow.
in one shot in a matter of like 3 months, let's just say. So I already had paid mortgage. I already paid tax. I
Yeah,
already
you were
paid the
doing it
water.
anyway.
So I
you
put it
were
all in
good.
savings. So like I didn't spend it.
Yep.
So like it wasn't like it was bad, right?
Right.
Fuck, man, I didn't get paid, but I got paid.
You
So
got
it's
through
not
it.
like I lost it. You know, but if you were banking on that money and your mortgage is $4,000 a month and you don't
Right.
have it, you're fucked.
I had, just because he said it before, I had again one tenant, and the fucking power went out or some shit, right? And they're like, hey, can you turn it back on? And I didn't say no, but I just did it. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm at a point sometimes where I'm like, I'm not gonna make it comfortable for you.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they're like, the basement door's locked. I'm like, I don't got the key. What do you want me to do? Plus, I'm not close by. I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to get into that mood or that mode. And again, I'm talking about just as sometimes people have to hear how shitty stuff is too, because it's not.
It's not.
But it's
glamorous.
like, what do you do? First, I'm not gonna go threaten somebody. I'm not gonna beat them up. I'm not gonna get a goon to do anything. Like, it's part of doing business. It's like getting a fucked up review or client at the end, and you're like,
Or somebody skipping a bill.
You put all your focus on it.
Happens in Jersey City.
Sure all the other ones you take care.
That's right.
So for somebody who wants all these headaches, right? So Jamie and myself, we own a home, residential home. We don't have any investment properties. What would you say to the listeners that maybe want to get their first investment for someone who already currently owns a home?
You go first.
I already know what Phil's going to say.
Right.
You're going to need the 25% down because you already own a single family house to do it the right way. So, like we mentioned before, if you would have bought the multifamily first, it would have only been 3.5 or 5% down. Now this way, you have to come up with more money. I would start off with like a 3 or a 4 family, just to kind of get like your feet wet. If you really want to swing for the fences, find something that's like 10, 15 units and just go for it. It's not going to be any different. It's just a lot, instead of 4 headaches, you have 15.
So can I guess what you were going to say?
Go ahead.
Sell your house.
Yes, there was 2 parts.
I don't know you guys well enough to say that.
Oh, I can say it.
But
You're my
that's
friend, so you can totally say it. They know
that's what that like. I have friends that sold their houses, bought multifamilies to live in, and then with the money that they made selling their houses, bought multifamily like investment properties.
Nelson, one day you'll meet my small, angry Italian wife.
No,
and
let me
you'll
get
see
my
what the
part too.
difference
He
is.
said he knew what he was going to say.
My wife
So,
lived in a one family all her life.
It would be
and moved
sell
into a
your
2-family
house
with me.
and get rid of your wife.
God bless you. You're more convincing than I am.
Start over. So much.
It's just numbers.
I
My wife won't
couldn't
listen
agree
to
more.
what
I'm a
you're
little bit past that, I think, in my life, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it. But I do have one investment property in Florida that's a real estate rental. It works out well for me.
Without like, all right, getting into too much crazy, whatever, we could talk about that after. You don't need a lot of money to make money. And usually it's the other way around.
Say that again.
You don't need a lot of money to make money.
Name of the episode right there.
Okay. You
True.
just
Get
need
the-
to
get
put
the
it in the
printing
right
after this.
place. For example, if I told you that with 50 grand, I can give you $1,000 a month, what would you say?
Yes, chef.
Right. Well, there you go.
Coming to. That's
So, like-
after the podcast.
Yeah. Like you got to get out of your comfort zone. Logistics is the biggest thing,
Yep.
But there are things you can do with real estate with very, very little money, and it'll bring in just as much money as anything that's big. And then it's all about scaling. Same way you said that I mentioned to you about the 20 units, $50, extra 1,000 a month or whatever it is.
Right.
100 units at $100 is 10,000, right? Is my math right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not good at math.
We're going to say yes anyway.
It's all right. I went to art school, so.
So the more numbers you can put up,
Yep.
the more money you're going to make. But you don't need a lot of money as long as you look in the right area to make $5,000-6,000 a month easy. Just like extra
Extra sounds good.
with
like that.
minimum work
For
Art.
the investor.
Our
the investor.
our sign came on.
Cool. So listen, where could we find you? Are you on Instagram? Are you on TV? Are you
I'm not
the
on TV.
radio? All right.
I'm on a podcast.
Cool.
First one.
Cool.
Because you're Portuguese.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram, but like it's just car stuff.
But if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, would you email anything, or we could put in the show notes then?
How about
put it in the show
how about
notes,
your
yeah.
mortgage company? I mean, why don't you
I
give
do
your
that
cousin?
part-time.
You're not going to even give your cousin a shout out, bro. I mean,
shameless plug here?
What the fuck, dude?
Hey, we'll put in the show notes.
Yeah.
You're letting this guy off too easy.
It's
We didn't even touch on the cars. I heard you like cars.
Yeah,
I
we like
mean,
cars. I like
yeah.
cars. I collect cars and building a warehouse for myself.
Now he's talking. Look how he's getting all excited.
Well, 'cause
Yo, he
That's
got
something that
really
excites me.
gassed.
But
How many cars you got right now?
41 or 2, I think.
42 cars. God bless you, dude.
All Lambos.
Somebody's getting audited.
Talk to his wife.
I'm kidding.
Talk to his wife. See it.
Just Volkswagens and BMWs. Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
Nah. All together, it's a nice big amount.
Right.
Not whatever. I don't know how much. I went over our time.
No, you're
already,
good. Go
but
ahead. We'll wrap it up.
it became more of
Phil, just pay for another episode. It's
That's
fine. Don't worry about it.
He can. It became a thing where it's money in the bank. I've always been into cars, and it's one of those things. I've never sold a car in my life, ever. Got one stolen.
You treat it like real estate.
Yeah, basically. All my cars are paid off except for one or two. Not my daily driver or whatever, my wife's truck. But if I ever need money, I could sell one of the cars. I might not have 200,000 in the bank,
Right.
but I could sell a car and get the money. And it became that way because the car's appreciated.
You're
But
kind of using them as currency.
technically if I need it. And it's easier to sell a car if you need 50,
Very quick,
60,000
as opposed to a house
as opposed
or
to a
building.
house.
Yeah.
So
Takes a while.
it became that.
Mhm.
A lot of the cars are cheap, 3,000-4,000, but I enjoy them. That's what I like.
How often do you drive these cars?
I don't drive them a lot because one car's blocking another one, and it takes 6 cars to move one.
Well, that's what the warehouse is for,
that's yes.
Yeah.
Easy
So-
in, easy out. Got it.
5,000 square
What'd you
feet.
end up picking up?
The lifts.
Yeah.
So
You ever seen in the city where they got the list?
Absolutely.
With
so you've driven on. I'm assuming you've driven on 21 before.
Yes, I
Across
have.
the-
I drove.
across the street from Lobby.
Yeah.
IDT building. Did you
Yep.
ever see those lifts that were there in the middle of the street? Those parking lifts, abandoned for God knows how long.
Those are yours now.
Those are mine now. They're in my warehouse. So I went there. I knocked on the door. Not figuratively
cars. You
speaking.
knocked on the door pretty much.
Well, I opened the door was open, but
It's stolen.
then I spoke to the manager. He was like, they're not really for sale, blah blah blah, this and that. And I was like, well, listen, I'm interested. I'm not trying to sell them for scrap or anything like that. I need them.
Right.
Month and change later, guy hits me up. He's like, listen, this is what I want for them. Come get them. So a buddy of mine owns a tow truck company, and 25 trips. The fucking guy
Back
took
and
them all.
Oh my God.
Back and forth. I left them all in properties in Belleville and Bloomfield and this one over there because I had no space for them. And now the warehouse is done. I put 12 in there and I put 10 somewhere else. So that's my hobby. That's
Awesome,
where
man.
Most of the capital goes.
Let's. What's next?
I'd like an exotic if we're talking cars.
Well, I was gonna say real estate. That'd be
Real
cool.
estate. I'd like to get another 50 to 100 units
By end of year.
by tomorrow.
Oh man. See?
But it's not realistic.
No. Don't.
Oh, here we go.
I never understood that. What does that word mean?
Like, come on, bro.
Well, I listened to your podcast. That's why I said it.
Oh, it's right here. Man.
Listen, I know you're not in on any deals with him, but I want to swing for the fences, brother. So 50 to 100 for me sounds.
It's back
Sounds
to it's
juicy.
being cash poor.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't handle
I'm
it.
fine with that. I
I know, but
love risk.
I know the problem is I
No,
don't
look,
have the cash to go buy it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
200,000 is a lot of money, but it doesn't go far when you're trying to buy something for 10 million.
Right.
Before I came, I was on the phone with my brother-in-law. We own some stuff together, and found 300 units somewhere, and we'll go over it after. And it's going to go into an auction, and they're thinking it's going to go for 9 mil. All right, still going to need about $3 million.
Yeah, correct. 30%.
So all right, great. The 300 units should leave you $100K a month.
Oh.
I'm missing the most important part though, 3 mil. So the deals are there.
No, that's what I said.
I've heard from somebody that money's never the issue. So
It isn't.
Well, that's why I'm here.
We're just figuring it
You just
out.
got to find it. You just got to find it.
It's not a no. It's that's why we talk and we kind of fucking figure it out. It's there. It's a matter of time. It's not every deal, everything I've done. I've never had enough money for it. Montague was that, and I hit him up first. He said no. His no made me fucking figure it out a different way.
We got it done.
Yeah, got it done. There's no choice.
You just have to be resourceful.
You gotta be resourceful, man. Not all the resources. Absolutely. Really quick. So, what exotic car are you looking to do?
I like a Lambo.
Which one?
Countach,
What year?
89, 25th anniversary.
That's some Wolf of Wall Street stuff. Right
Yeah, red, not white.
and we have a nice way of closing.
Miami Vice type shit.
It's kid car.
Are you going to park it sideways though and take up 3 spots? That's all I
I'm
need
not
to
that
know.
guy.
I wish-
We'll introduce you to Rich.
I'll go to Home Depot
Richie
and put a
does that.
fucking pipe through the window. I don't
No,
give a shit.
you throw the 2x4.
Well, I don't- that doesn't- I've
Sheetrock
never-
on top.
I will never be a slave to a car or a house.
Thank
I
you.
don't. You come to my house, you don't have to take off your fucking shoes.
Yep.
I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
You have it to use it.
That's it. If I go to your house and maybe take off your shoes, I might go the other way.
Well, you also have 40 cars and
You
40
make you
houses.
take off your shoes? Are you one of those guys?
No, my wife makes me take them off, not me. I'm like, I throw them. To
I
the
take
side.
off my shoes,
I
but I
got-
have my house shoes
I
right
got
there.
Kids.
Oh,
This
man,
guy
I'm in
puts
the
them
wrong-
all up down his fucking steps. I seen him. There's like one on each fucking step. Like
See,
it's a
I'm not-
fucking museum and shit.
I'm
Just like throw them to the side. I keep it moving. Somebody's coming over. I might clean up a little bit.
Yeah,
if
you
it's
want to show
fucking
out.
raining, snow,
Yeah.
I don't give
Most
a
of my
shit.
friends know.
Really?
who I am,
Yeah.
so.
I don't care. Muddy, not like, again, not like if my wife's garden, like she's got into gardening now, right? So we'll be outside or whatever, and all of a sudden we track in some dirt,
Yeah.
put a fucking towel over, wipe it
Yeah.
down, and keep it going. We're not taking our shoes off.
My man's come a long way. In the beginning, he was a little clammed up, but look at you now, bro. You've blossomed
It's,
like a beautiful lotus
it's
flower.
not as hard as it seems,
Yeah.
you know? And
No,
you guys
we're
are
very easy to talk to.
Cool. Listen, thank you so much for coming, man. I really appreciate it. I'm sure. Like I learned a lot today. You know what I mean? Even though I know
gotta do it
I
again.
know these guys do. Yeah, we got to do a part 2, man. And I'm sure everybody else that's gonna listen is gonna have some questions and everything. We'll put everything in the show notes. And again, thank you for coming, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Nelson. It was awesome, man.
Clap that
Learned
out,
a
bro.
ton.